In our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters. He lost his election, and he lost big. I know it, he knows it, and deep down, I think most Republicans know it.
Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Thursday, August 4th, 2022. Welcome to day 562.
We allege that the defendants knew their actions in falsifying the affidavit could create a dangerous situation, and we allege these unlawful acts resulted in Ms. Taylor's death. The charges announced today also allege that the officers responsible for falsifying the affidavit that led to the search took steps to cover up their unlawful conduct after Ms. Taylor was killed. We allege that defendants Janes and Goodlett conspired to knowingly falsify an investigative document that was created after Ms. Taylor's death. We also allege that they conspired to mislead federal, state, and local authorities who were investigating the incident. For example, we allege that in May 2020, those two defendants met in a garage where they agreed to tell investigators a false story. This indictment separately alleges that defendant Meany lied to the FBI during its investigation of this matter.
The Justice Department charged 4 current and former Louisville police officers with violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights, who was shot and killed by police in 2020 when she was sleeping. The charges filed against Joshua Janes, Kyle Meany, Kelly Goodlett, and Brett Hankison include conspiracy, use of force, obstruction of justice, as well as various civil rights violations. They are the first federal charges filed in connection with Taylor's killing. Attorney General Merrick Garland said during a statement that Breonna Taylor should be alive today, adding that the falsification of the affidavit used to obtain the search warrant needed to authorize the raid had, quote, violated federal civil rights laws and that those violations resulted in Ms. Taylor's death, end quote. Meanwhile, the Biden administration declared monkeypox a public health emergency, a designation that will free up emergency funds and speed the distribution of the vaccine. The declaration comes more than a week after the World Health Organization declared the outbreak a global health emergency. The United States has confirmed more than 6,600 cases of monkeypox as of this time, roughly 25% of the confirmed infections across the world. Health officials estimate that the government needs about 3.5 million doses of the vaccine to fight the outbreak. The U.S. is currently distributing about 1.1 million doses, due in part to the Department of Health and Human Services' failure to ask the manufacturer early on to process bulk stock of the vaccine, which it already owned, and put them into vials for distribution. The U.S. owns the equivalent of about 16.5 million doses of the vaccine in bulk storage. The next delivery of 500,000 doses is not expected until October. Further, roughly 5 million additional doses won't be delivered until next year. The last time the U.S. declared a public health emergency was in response to COVID-19 in January 2020. Moving on, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended Tampa's elected prosecutor for pledging not to prosecute abortions and gender-affirming care, accusing Andrew Warren of incompetence and willful defiance of his duties. After the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, Warren and 90 other elected prosecutors across the country signed a joint statement saying that, quote, enforcing abortion bans runs counter to the obligations and interests we are sworn to uphold, end quote. Warren also signed a statement in June 2021 alongside more than 70 state prosecutors and attorneys general, vowing not to prosecute crimes related to gender-affirming care. DeSantis, nonetheless, said Warren had, quote, put himself publicly above the law, end quote, when he signed the letters, adding, quote, our government is a government of laws, not a government of men, end quote. FBI Director Christopher Wray, however, told senators that the Bureau has opened a number of investigations into abortion-related violent crime incidents. Meanwhile, Alex Jones conceded that the 20 first graders and 6 educators that were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012, the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history, was 100% real and not a hoax staged by crisis actors. Under oath and facing $150 million or more in damages for his false claims, The InfoWars conspiracy theorists admitted that it was irresponsible of him to declare the school shooting a false flag by the government intended to force gun control on Americans. At one point during the trial, Jones was informed by the opposing counsel that his legal team had inadvertently sent the contents of his cell phone, including the last 2 years' worth of text messages, to the lawyers for the Sandy Hook families, which showed that Jones had failed to produce court-ordered documents and contradicted claims that he had made under oath about his finances. Mark Bankston, an attorney for the parents, asked Jones, "Do you know what perjury is?" To which Jones replied, "I'm not a tech guy." Shortly thereafter, the January 6th committee requested 2 years' worth of records from Alex Jones's phone as part of its investigation into the Capitol riot. The committee had previously requested records and a deposition from Jones regarding his role in the pro-Trump rally that preceded the riot. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditas.